It's really been a great part of my career to get this award and to take part in teaching at such an amazing university with such really good students. Having good students, Nina, helps. It makes teaching a little bit easier,
Rob,
right?
you are beloved by students, and this award just shows how much you've had an impact on students. So you were a journalist in your first half of your career. How does that inform your teaching?
Well, I'm only going to say one thing. Before I was a journalist, I had a store. And I like to tell students stories about when I had a store. I sold luggage, and I really saw myself as a career in sales. But what I learned about journalism, and I think I try to pass on to my students, because we can teach students, sure, that's what we do, but we can also teach them some valuable life lessons too.
Right.
And one of the things I emphasize is journalism taught me to be on time. Because if you're not on time, you do get let go, right? Eventually, you know, but I taught, and also the ability to write for different audiences. I'm very fanatical about that. We do a lot of research papers here, but I'm more kind of, do you want to write for a magazine? Do you want to write a journalistic piece? How do you do it? How do you write to photos, for example? Things like that. So that's the legacy of journalism, is putting in that. I think it largely is be on time, but also learn to write for different audiences.
Given that you have been teaching for quite a while now at the U of T, how has your teaching evolved over time? And can I add something to that? How have students evolved over time?
When I started here, things were a little bit different, but my niche here was to give students field experience. Okay. So that's really where I changed my career over time, because I always thought, you know, I went to the field a lot, and I thought and I gained a lot as a journalist, interviewing people, things like that. So that was the main thing I did in terms of change, was I really shifted to experiential learning, and I carved out a niche in these field trips. Multiple number of countries, I'm not going to tell you all of them, but interesting places, but largely small places. In terms of how the students have changed, like, people talk about how students have changed a lot. Like, to be frank, I don't think students have changed that much. My students, particularly at the undergrad level, seem to me largely the same as they were 20 years ago in terms of their enthusiasm. The thing that's different, especially from my experience as an undergrad, they're just, especially at this university, there's just so many more opportunities. And that's the biggest transformation. And also to give a student a chance to be in the field, to ask questions of a president or a prime minister, and to overcome, you know, actually my biggest thing to do with students is get them to overcome their fears. You know, to be in a room where a high-profile person's there, but to feel comfortable asking a question, and those skills are irreplaceable when you think about a career down the road.
I have noticed that students come back to you, and it could be a decade, even more, since they've had you in class. You always remember their names. How do you make such a strong connection to the students that lasts for such a long time when you have them here for such a short time at the Munk School?
Well, the first part has to do with having previously been in sales, because learning people's names, I do make a lot of effort learning people's names because I think it matters.
It does.
I really think, and even if you have 80, 100, like a class of 1,000, forget it. But my classes max are like 100 people. I learn the names. I do look at the Quercus list in the morning. It's only 5 minutes of your time. Just try to link a face to a name and stuff like that. That's true. So I work on it. I always try hard to learn students' names. In terms of the connection, I think, Nina, my classes are first and foremost a respectful community. And that's the kind of atmosphere we're trying to build. We have a very lateral relationship. I don't like hierarchy. Hierarchy is when you're in an army, right? And I'm not in an army. My students are very informal with me, but they know that they understand where the lines are and the role of respect. So I think it's because we created a community. And for a lot of the students that come back, many of them, in some of my classes, they got a first chance to be somebody different. And I think that is what sticks with them. And I've also, this is a fun fact, I don't like using that term, but it is a fun fact. A lot of great relationships have grown out of my classrooms. I mean, great long-lasting relationships, great friendships, weddings. One student proposed to his future bride in the class they met, which was my class. And then we went to the wedding, my wife and I went, and I was so touched because the whole class was there. So it wasn't just that two people got married. It was a whole relationship.
A community
that came out of the class.
You created a community.
Yeah. And that's what I aspire to. Let's have a conversation. Let's keep keep the conversation going. And no student should ever feel like they're not part of that space.